Let me tell you the top 5 reasons that you should consider just never getting a credit card, period. Or if you have them, getting rid of them. And I feel like I need to preface it by saying I was the type of person who was like, I will just use credit cards, get good credit, but I'll use them the right way. I'll pay them off every month. So you never pay interest, you never pay fees, you never pay any of that stuff. It's like you're using a credit card like a bank account, and it's an extra layer of protection, all of the stuff. That's how I thought about credit cards until that one month when there wasn't enough money to pay all of the credit card off. So you let it roll and you're like, well, whatever, it's like $13 worth of interest, right? And then the next month you still don't have enough money to pay it off. Plus, you've gone further into spending money that you didn't have, so now it's up. So, all right, it's $20 of interest. And that sort of snowball effect as an entrepreneur, as someone who's trying to build a business and putting the business first and putting, in some cases, the employees first, and payroll, business expenses, all that has to come first when you own a business. And I am an eternal optimist, and I just kept thinking, next month I'll land big enough deals and I'll pay this all off. I'll get out of this. And I just thought that for like 14 months until there was $50,000 there. There were some months that I didn't make any money at all. We've got all the things. We've got a house, we've got 2 cars, we've got kids, we've got all of the thing. To not make any money in a month, you just really take a hit. That's a little bit about, I think, how I got to the point of $50,000 in debt. And at some point, I just realized, talking to friends and mentors, this has to stop. Like, you can be optimistic all you want, but you also have to be a realist. You also have to, how are you going to get out of this? I remember numerous conversations with like friends, family, Amber, where they're just kind of looking at me like, okay, that's great, but where's the money? And that really is reason number 1 that you just don't want to touch them, is because you can say all that you want. I will never use them the wrong way. I will always pay them off. But I think it's too tempting. It's too much of a crutch. When the day comes that you can't pay it off, it's actually too easy. It's not hard enough on you to be like, well, I just won't pay it and I'll pay $13 of interest this month. That's not like a big enough penalty to make you really feel it. The repercussions, it lowers the repercussions of bad financial decisions, and then it turns into a slow fade. Reason number 2 has to do with those conversations. Just yesterday, Amber and I watched a video from when we were in $50,000 of debt last year. She tweeted out like, I'm not sure what this look was about, and I don't think it was about the debt. I don't think it was. But I do know that money was literally always on her mind, that she was always thinking about it. Are we okay? And that is just painful to be like in a position where the person you love the most in the whole world, you kind of set them up to question you and if you're gonna have enough to make it. Like, if you're gonna make it, just don't ever get to that place, because Amber's a boss, and like, she crushed it, and we'd communicate well through that stuff, and like, she would talk about it and all of that stuff. There was never a time where I felt like our relationship was in jeopardy, but just the feeling of I didn't make enough money to make her feel safe and like we had enough. That's just a horrible feeling, coupled with, plus we have $50,000 of credit card debt and I'm still not making money. Just, that is the worst place to be. It's the worst place to be, and I don't want that for any of you. Reason number 3 is that almost undoubtedly you're going to eventually be put in a position where you have to settle those debts. And while I'm all for haggling, all for negotiation, all for just reasoning and talking to debt settlement and all of that stuff, when you use that credit, if you're a good person, which I think you are, you always had intended to pay that money back with interest. That was the deal. That was what you signed. And once you get so far in debt that there's no way out of it, almost undoubtedly you're going to end up having to settle those debts for less than what they are. And not only does that really hurt your credit, which is a whole nother thing, it also, more than that, it just, there's like a moral imbalance that happens, and you don't want to be there. You don't ever want to be there. This is hard. This is a hard video to make. Number 4 has to do with the experiences that you at some point start missing out on. And this is an interesting one, because probably part of the reason we got into credit debt was because I was unwilling to say no to some experiences. So I would just put it on a credit card. You know, at some point we had to cut that off, and just having to be in a place where you can't do what you want to do because you are just so far in debt that it would be completely unreasonable for you to do it is much worse than being in a place where you can't do what you want to do because you don't have enough money, because you haven't made enough money yet. Like, it's much better to be striving towards saving up the amount of money to go on a cruise or to go on a vacation or to buy a new camera or new computer or whatever. It's a much better place to be striving towards it from zero, as opposed to wanting to do all of those things but also being 50K in debt, and then knowing that like you need to get out of that debt before you could ever even imagine that, but you need that stuff in order to run your business or to feel sane, or it traps you. It just traps you, and it's too, like, it's that trap is reason enough for me to say, just don't even touch them. Don't even mess with them. There's this freedom that if you don't have credit card debt right now, you're living in, that you probably don't realize you're living in. And I'm saying from the other side, don't fall for the trap, okay? That's what I'm saying. Number 5 is similar to number 3, and it's just, you know, for us, we're so reliant on community. We love our community, our friends. And when our friends found out that, you know, we had this massive amount of credit card debt, they all were just so amazing and wanted us to keep doing stuff. They would just pay for us all the time, you know, and that's so awesome. But it doesn't feel great to, when they're doing it and you know they're doing it because you're in this massive amount of credit card debt, it just is like the most humbling feeling in the world. And I'm all for being humbled. I think that that's awesome, but just get humbled in a different way, all right? There's plenty of ways to get humbled in this life. Don't make that be one of them. Those are some of the reasons. There's so many more. I could talk about it forever, but I had to make this video a little bit more concise. I'm gonna talk more about how we got out of this debt. We just settled the last one, so, and that's awesome. I'm gonna make more videos about that and what that was like and how we did that and how you can do that if you find yourself in this situation. So subscribe if you're into that thing, and thank you for watching this. Thank you for being here, for rooting for us last year, this year. Like, if you're just here now, if you just found this channel, just thank you. Like, know that we're real people with real struggles, just like you, and we're doing this thing together. Very last thing I want to say is, if you are there, if you are deep in debt, there is hope. Like, it's gonna be all right. You're gonna get through it, okay? Put your head down, start grinding, start making some more money right now, today. Who you gotta call? Make some money. All right, let's get this thing.